What's up, folks? I'm Chris, your MLB writer here at OccupyFantasy.com, here with a look at the 10-game main slate in MLB DFS on FanDuel, DraftKings, and Yahoo here on Monday, May 23rd. Already almost through the second full month of the Major League Baseball season. Let's get started on the final week of May. As always, we like to start by looking at the pitchers that are available to us tonight. We have a couple of studs available at the top of the Occupy model, probably likely at the top of everyone's models. We prefer Zach Wheeler to Garrett Cole tonight with the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, that might seem a little strange at first when you see that Wheeler's facing the Atlanta Braves, defending World Series champion Atlanta Braves, and Garrett Cole has the Baltimore Orioles. However, Wheeler is benefiting from the fact that Atlanta actually strikes out at the highest rate across Major League Baseball in the last 30 days. So he's going to get a positive boost from that. Wheeler also has probably the longest leash in Major League Baseball right now for any starting pitcher. You know, he has outings that routinely go into the seventh inning, which in 2022 is just not something that happens all too often for starting pitchers across the league. So we have to like the combination of Wheeler's strikeout upside. We have him at 1.29 strikeouts per innings pitched tonight. That's against a team that strikes out more than anyone else in Major League Baseball right now. Slight moneyline favorite, minus 122, and a minus 9 moneyline move means that there's a little bit of action coming in on Philadelphia in markets backing Wheeler, so we also like that as well. I think he's comfortably someone you definitely want to start with on DraftKings tonight, and I personally would take him over Garrett Cole on FanDuel tonight. A little bit of a cap savings there. I think Wheeler is the best overall pitcher to play tonight. Now, there's nothing wrong with Garrett Cole. In fact, our model is telling us that we should do the best we can to prioritize these two guys. We have an 18.2 OF index for Wheeler, a 17.9 for Garrett Cole. Nobody else above a 13.5. 15 is really the line for what we think is a really strong play at starting pitcher. So it certainly is expensive on DraftKings tonight, but if there's a path to getting both Wheeler and Cole in some lineups tonight, especially if you're like a single entry type player, I do think that's probably the best way to go. Garrett Cole with a giant minus 335 money line for the Yankees on his side tonight. Money line move in his favor. Garrett Cole definitely probably going to be the most popular pitcher on this slate, most popular in low risk especially, and for good reason. Projected for a little over a strikeout per inning pitch tonight against the Baltimore Orioles, which would be a downgrade from what we expect from him normally. You know, he averages closer to like 1.3 strikeouts per innings pitched. But the Orioles actually Early on in the season, if you watch some of our videos in April, we were hammering the Orioles as they strike up more than anybody else. Well, now that's actually Atlanta. Baltimore has actually crept back towards the average there. So they still strike out at a decent rate, but they're more in the middle of the pack in Major League Baseball right now. Garrett Cole with slightly worse StatCast profile than Zach Wheeler. So a little bit more risk there from the batted ball department, but I think both these guys are in line to have strong outings tonight. Now, we have this batted ball data for number 3 in our model. A pitcher with 1.05 strikeout per inning pitch projection is Nick Martinez with the San Diego Padres against the Milwaukee Brewers tonight. I'm not the biggest fan of this ranking, to be completely frank with you, but our model has been right more often than not in the past. The downside here with Milwaukee is Milwaukee's averaging the most DraftKings points per plate appearance out of any team in Major League Baseball over the last month. Milwaukee does strike out at an above average rate. That's probably something our model is highlighting and honing in on, coupled with Martinez obviously limiting the type of contact that gets pitchers into trouble. I certainly see why we rank it this way, but as a slight moneyline favorite here, no movement just yet. I think I might come back a little later on the day and see where Martinez is in our model here before making any final decisions on how to attack this slate. Louise Garcia, even though we have him number 4, is probably my third favorite pitcher behind Wheeler and Cole tonight for the Houston Astros. Garcia is facing the Cleveland Guardians tonight. Garcia averages over a strikeout per innings pitched historically, over the last year or so of his outings. So we actually do think there's more upside than this 0.87 that we're projecting against the Guardians this evening. The Guardians are striking out at a pretty well below average rate, though, in the last 30 days. So that's ultimately why this adjustment is the way it is on this slate. Now, we're starting to dive into an area where the rankings that we have for some of these starting pitchers are a lot lower than we'd like if we're going to play someone. Some other names that may jump out to people, especially if you run like optimizers and see what pops. Some guys that may pop that are cheap. Marco Gonzalez here against the Oakland Athletics. I actually think that this is a trap play tonight. 5,300 against the Oakland Athletics. People like targeting Oakland with starting pitching, but the risk here with Gonzalez is he's actually not performing super well over the last year or so. His outings is allowing elite isolated slugging, elite weighted on base average to hitters from both sides of the plate, and he doesn't strike out hitters at a very high rate. We also actually rank Oakland fairly high in the hitter model tonight. So Gonzalez, to me, is an avoid on this slate on DraftKings as starting pitcher 2, even at the discount price. You'll see Zach Greinke all the way down here at $4,800. Zach Greinke projected for just 0.31 strikeouts per inning against the Diamondbacks tonight. Zach Greinke over the last year has only averaged 0.58 strikeouts per innings pitched in his outings. There's just not a path to fantasy points here, particularly when strikeouts are just so valuable. Greinke's a great real-life pitcher at his age, a wily old veteran that could certainly keep his team in games, but he's not giving us the outings that we want in fantasy baseball to really make him viable here. So now that has been said, he's going to actually turn back the clock and get you some strikeouts tonight, right? I would X him out as well, even if he pops as a value. My favorite pitcher down here that we don't necessarily rank super high has to be Alex Cobb with the San Francisco Giants. The Mets are actually the lowest ranked stack in our model tonight, so our model certainly is seeing some of the value here as well. The only issue with Cobb is the low strikeout projection, just 0.71, but he is a slight favorite here against the Mets tonight, and his StatCast performance is really good. I mean, he's one of the lower batted ball exit velocity and batted ball distance pitchers on this slate, right? He's not allowing hard contact. He's not allowing far contact nearly as much as some of these other guys above him. So if you are looking for an option outside of the top options here, I do think Alex Cobb is the way to go. Chris Archer, his average outing this year, he has not gone 5 innings in a start once yet in his 7 outings. So I'm going to be Xing him out as well. Now, where do we go on offense? First clue is who is ranked really low in our model. Bo Brisky here with the Tigers is the worst pitcher in our model. Joanna Doan with the Nationals is the second worst. Greinke against the Diamondbacks. Zach Plesac against the Astros. Jordan Lyles against the Yankees. I have a sneaky suspicion that a lot of these teams here that they're facing are going to be our top options to stack this evening. And no surprise, let's filter for the main slates. The Dodgers are the number 1 option in the model across the board in every single category tonight. That makes them someone we probably should look at first. The Yankees facing Jordan Lyles should also be in play. The Twins are facing the worst pitcher in our model today on the slate, and they have really reasonable rankings in every single category here. We have a high degree of consensus with our rankings and Vegas team total rankings. The top 4 stacks in our model are the top 4 teams by implied team total in Las Vegas tonight, in betting markets tonight, out of the 20 teams that are available to us. So at this early point in the day, our model thinks that those are some teams that we should try to primary stack this evening. Now, I want to talk about the Oakland Athletics a little bit. They have a reasonable ranking as a primary stack, a strong power upside rank, but their WOBA is low, and their implied team total is obviously super low as an underdog against the Mariners tonight. The thing with the Oakland Athletics tonight that is going to jump out to you and to most players, if this is actually the confirmed lineup that we get, there is no one priced above $3,200 on DraftKings available to roster from the Athletics tonight. And there is no one above $2,800, Sean Murphy on both sites, available to roster in the lineup here for the Oakland Athletics. Now, again, Marco Gonzalez, the left-handed pitcher for the Seattle Mariners, he allows 248 isolated slugging to lefties, 225 isolated slugging to righties, elite weighted on base average to hitters from both sides of the plate, doesn't strike out guys at a very high rate. I do think we will see people actually play Oakland a decent bit tonight. And I think that means that they hopefully should allow us to pay up for some of these expensive stacks. In fact, when I was running some optimizer runs in the lineup builder here, I actually got Oakland in some part of one of my lineups. So I did a 300 lineup run in the optimizer. Oakland was popping in 88% of the lineups that I ran, any combination of these players here for value. So I think that's something that we're going to have to probably look at closer this evening, is some of these value bats on Oakland. I think particularly as a secondary stack is the way to play them tonight. Another player that is popping in our model that's really cheap, it is this infielder for the St. Louis Cardinals, Nolan Gorman. He's our highest ranked hitter against Jose Barrios of the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. He's just the minimum price on DraftKings, just $2,500 over on FanDuel. So some value plays that should allow you to get to the Dodgers, to the Yankees, to Wheeler, to Garrett Cole. We're going to need some of these names tonight to make that happen. Going back to our stacks, we do have the Dodgers number 1. Going back to our pitchers, we do have Wheeler and Cole 1 and 2. I think it makes sense if you're building one lineup tonight to try to get those guys in your lineup. I took a shot at that here. I put Wheeler in, I put Garrett Cole in, I put 5 of our highly ranked Dodger hitters in. We can't do this. 13.33 per player remaining. It's just not going to happen. So if you're going to play Wheeler and Cole together, you need to find a way to do that fits in your lineup. And I do think, looking at our model, looking that we have Byron Buxton number 1 overall, I've jumped down to the Twins. I do think a Twins primary stack can get you there tonight. Looks like we get some pieces that have reasonable salaries in Max Kepler. You get a minimum price hitter in Nick Gordon if he starts tonight. That's available to us. 5.4 run implied team total. Team total moving up slightly here in the model to begin the day. So let's see if we can do this with the Twins and both stud pitchers tonight. I do think there's a path to getting this done. 23.33 is a little light on salary, but for just 3 spots and with some of the value on Oakland that is available to us tonight, Chad Pinder, one of the higher ranked ones. We have 2,500 per player for 2 final spots. I think there's a way to get this done tonight. Now, jumping on over to FanDuel. See, I've plugged in Wheeler. See, I've plugged in 4 high upside Minnesota Twin bats that we rank highly in our model. This is an interesting way to play this slate tonight. There's a lot of options. Obviously, you got 2 stud starting pitchers. I think that allows you to build a lot of combinations of lineups here in DraftKings and FanDuel. I feel like we have a pretty good handle on the slate here from this early part of the day here. But as always, you're going to want to keep an eye out for the daily plug at OccupyFantasy.com. We will post that by about an hour before the slate locks at the absolute latest. If you want to talk about MLB DFS up until then, you can consider joining our Discord. There's a link to do so below to the description of every video we post. And once again, we will talk to you tomorrow for more MLB DFS.